on opening the sutra.
Good afternoon, everybody. Please sit comfortably and so we can see each other easily. Continuing in the Lankavatara chapter on Tathagatahood. In a true sense, there are four kinds of sameness relating to Buddha nature. There is the sameness of letters, the sameness of words, the sameness of meaning, and the sameness of essence. The name Buddha is spelt B-U-D-D-H-A. Pro tip, that's a translation, I'm sure. The letters are the same when used for any Buddha or any Tathagata. The sacred letters of the Buddha. When the Brahmins teach, they use various words. And when the Tathagatas teach, they use the very same words. In respect to words, there is a sameness between us. In the teachings of all the Tathagatas, there is a sameness of meaning. Among all the Buddhas, there is a sameness of Buddha nature. So this first part is addressing the issue of, well, this Buddha or that Buddha? It's all the same Buddha. Now understand that the teachings say quite clearly that there are more world systems than there are grains of sand on all the beaches of this world. For every grain of sand, there's a cosmos, there's a world system. Countless, vast. And this, I suppose, is in the infinitesimal and the infinitely large scale. So in each world system where there evolves life that we call sentient, and let us be humble about our understanding of what actually qualifies. Nonetheless, we say, when the sentient beings arise, Buddha mind is there. So too, when sentient beings arise, suffering happens. And so when sentient beings are there and suffering is happening, a Buddha too shall rise. Inevitably, this is so. In each world system, in each universe, in each time and place and age, a Buddha will rise. To me, it says that this is inherent. Of course it is. But what about this now? Is this Buddha hipper than that Buddha? Did I get a loser Buddha in my world system? Can I upgrade? Is there a faster, is there a hack for this? Is there a Buddha app where I can swipe and find the one that I really like? Oh, this teacher doesn't work for me. I'm moving on. Well, if they're a real teacher, you won't be able to move on from them. No matter where you go, whatever real teacher you encounter, you'll encounter the same Buddha. Oh yeah. You might as well settle down and take care of business. So sameness of words, sameness of meaning. Don't worry about it. You have what you need. You have what you need to practice and to realize. Enough with the spiritual marketplace shopping. Be careful about that. There are some of us in the room who've tasted how fast a decade can actually go by. Remember, the marketplace has its own agenda for you, dear one. It wants you to stay in the market. Be careful. Watch out. You have the incredible, amazing, auspicious karma to have found yourself in a space and a time and a place where the Dharma is accessible to you. You can't arrange that. You can't haggle for it. There's no deal you can make. What you can do is be grateful and be humble and dig the hell in. The Buddha's name is spelt B-U-D-D-H-A. An interesting subject, letters, words, meanings. Why? Why is this a thing? Investigate the architecture of your cocoon. Investigate the architecture of the prison that you carry with you everywhere, that you create, that you inherit. Words, letters, meanings, names. When the Brahmins speak, they use words. When the Buddhists speak, they use the same words. Don't expect the Buddha to show up as some floating vision in the sky. In fact, if that's how a Buddha appears to you, I would be very skeptical. Oh, cut it out. What use is that? You trying to just freak everybody out? Settle down. In the teachings of all the Tathagatas, there is a sameness of meaning. This is very important to really take in, because it's natural enough to feel like, well, I'm trying to find the right teaching, and you need to find the right teaching. It's not wrong, but once you find it, that's good. You're good, okay? The teaching of all the Buddhas, all of the ancestors, anyone who's actually come to this human Buddha realization, you encounter the same I, the same Dharma, the same teacher throughout the entire lineage. And if we get a little cosmic for a second, throughout all of time and being, throughout all space and time. Among Buddhas, among all the Buddhas, there is a sameness of Buddha nature. The Buddha nature is precisely the same. And it's very counterintuitive if you grew up kind of infused with a theology or dogma that says that there's some singular and unique figure, however defined, that you can never equate to and you must always supplicate to. And it's particularly smells funny, if you can't get there except through a priest class or a guru of some kind that does or doesn't allow you access to this singular entity, or worse, if they present themselves as such. No. It's all the same, man. It's just us chickens here. Realize it and get over yourself. Hopefully both. Necessarily both. Literally, get over yourself. Among all Buddhas, there is the sameness of Buddha nature. Now, we take a pivot. They all have the 32 marks of excellence and the 80 minor signs of bodily perfection. So that's how you can tell. Sutra is so helpful. They all have the 32 marks of excellence and the 80 minor signs of bodily perfection. Well, the sutra just carries merrily along, but let's linger for a moment. Get out your slide rule. Let's measure. 32 marks of Buddha. Now you'll find, if you kick around a little bit, you'll find a few different variations on this, but they all point to the same direction. First, realize Buddha will have a 1,000-spoked wheel on the soles and palms. I'm already feeling a little lacking here. The soles of the feet will be perfectly level. You know it. You know it. The fingers and toes will be long and slender. Pondering the mysteries together, we read forward. The fingers and toes will be webbed. That's an important one. Soft and tender hands and feet, no ruffians here. The ankles shall be high. These things matter, apparently. Legs shall be like an antelope. Sounds good. Arms that extend below the knees. There'll be a knuckle dragger, it turns out. The male organ shall be sheathed. I would add, if present. Height equal to the arm span. I mean, this just goes on and on. Body hair that grows upward. One hair per pore, each curling to the right. See, this is, we always say awakening has tells. Well, here we go. Let's see, there's a golden-hued skin. Of course, we have to go there, don't we? There's a 10-foot aura of light, fine and delicate skin, 7 convex areas, hands, feet, shoulders, and neck. There'll be a fullness under the armpits. Please check yours. A lion-like upper body. That sounds good. I'll sign on for that one. A broad and straight body, even shoulders. There'll be 40 teeth, and they'll be even, and they'll be white. 4 canine teeth that are crystal and rounded. I mean, for God's sake, if you meet this in a dark alley, lion-like cheeks, taste that surpasses all others. I'm not going to inquire too far about that one. A large and broad tongue, a voice like a Brahma, deep blue eyes. Of course, the blue-eyed people win again. Eyelashes like a cow's. Tammy Faye had that one, I think. Let's see. A white urna between the eyebrows, head like a royal turban, body as straight as a banyan tree. what the hell is going on? What? I thought we were talking about some deep stuff here, the cosmos and the oneness and all this, the sameness of all Buddha nature. Okay, now here's the key to unlocking this, okay? And the sutras itself is good to tell you. It assumes you know this. Of course, how would you? Each of these marks, okay, and there's 80 minor signs. I won't read all of them. Stately gait resembling a lion king. Majestic gait, resembling a royal ox. The right foot always leads when walking. On and on. Knees with no protruding kneecaps. Watch out for that one. A navel without blemish. On and on. Okay. Now here's the thing. Okay. Back in a culture and a time where not everybody could read, we have imagery. Okay. Now the initial images that followed the Buddha, really within the first few centuries of his death, they did not anthropomorphize the image. So you wouldn't have an image of a person or a statue. You'd have a stupa, which originally contained reliquaries from the Buddha's actual body. You would have, perhaps you've seen these things, footprints in the ground showing Buddha stood here. Trees were very important. This is the tree where the Buddha was born. Of course, it's that one. This is the tree where the Buddha died. This is the tree where Buddha became awakened. So you have trees. You have this sort of non-human looking stupa with reliquaries, let's say. And then something shifts. It happens to be the encounter with Greece, the Greco-Roman interface. And suddenly statues are kind of sweet. And so they began to see how the Greek statue folk could make these beautiful images, and they said, this is good. We can use this. And so they began to make images in a way that conveyed meaning to the people seeing them. Now, this is nothing new. Consider the portrait of Napoleon on his horse, pure propaganda play. Consider the golden arches of McDonald's, engineered in the colors designed to drive your hunger response. This can be used for ill, but in this case, used to point out the character of a Buddha. It's actually not talking about physical marks. It's using physical marks as expressions of character qualities. So the thousand-spoked wheel on the soles and the palms, this symbolizes the Buddha's ability to turn the wheel of Dharma to guide beings toward liberation. So when you see a hand with a wheel on it, to those in the know back in the day, perhaps the pre-literate or cultures where not many people had the luxury of reading, that would be something that the people would recognize. Oh, this one can help. Level soles of the feet represents stability and groundedness in ethical conduct. Your feet are on the ground. Stability. Groundedness in ethical conduct. Long and slender fingers and toes indicate skillful means and generosity to those folks in those times. Webbed fingers and toes denotes the ability to bring people together. The ability to bring people together. Suddenly it unlocks a little bit, huh? So if you have some supposed spiritual teacher that isn't stable, isn't grounded in ethical conduct, that is unskillful, that is unable to bring people together, that can't really guide beings toward liberation, you're not looking at a fully realized human Buddha. It doesn't literally mean I'm going to go get a tattoo, nor should you, with a wheel in here. Yeah, I'll chip away at this list one at a time. I don't know how that's going to go. I don't think so. Soft and tender hands and feet reflects compassion and gentle action. Gentle action. The hands are gentle. They're never rough. They never smack you upside the head or force you. It's gentle. When a human Buddha walks, it's always kissing the earth, step by step. It's a mutual caress. The earth and the foot and the earth. An awakened one doesn't trod dully and blindly, stomping things that are in their way. High ankles, for whatever reason, signifies nobility and detachment from worldly concern. O noble one. Hint, has nothing to actually do with the circumference of your ankle. But to communicate and to preserve this, it's encoded like such. You know, kind of like a QR code we have today. You scan the thing with your phone, it takes you somewhere. These images are carriers of important information from generation to generation to generation. And the particular details, they fade perhaps, or they don't translate well from one culture to the next. But please, let us get beyond the assumptions of our culture, as much as we love or hate it, or both. Legs like an antelope. Any guess? Symbolizes swift and graceful movement in teaching the Dharma. Swift, graceful movement when teaching. Arms that extend below the knees. Indicates great strength in the ability to reach out to help all beings. You ever see a silverback gorilla? Ooh, there's some strength. And a long reach to help. The sheathed male organ represents purity and restraint, self-restraint. This is not just flying by the seat of your pants. This is not just being yanked around by your own body or the bodies of others. It's not acceptable. No shame, but don't be fooled. Height equal to the arm span denotes perfect proportion and balance in teaching. A body hair that grows upward symbolizes spiritual aspiration and purity. One hair per pore, each curling to the right, reflects meticulous order and harmony. You know, I've known a number of teachers. I've been very fortunate to be in the presence of a number of awakened folks. And they are as different from each other as you can imagine. But there is a kind of harmony in a real teacher that just is around them. I mean, they can walk into the greasy spoon diner of the truck stop at 3 a.m. and somehow they bring a kind of order just by the way they're there. And you would never know, per se, just another person sitting at the counter, needing a cup of coffee and a little bit of a break from the road. And yet, golden-hued skin here denotes accumulation of merit and virtue, merit and virtue over long stretches of time. You can't just be virtuous for a quick minute. I mean, that's better than not. But in the sutra's own terms, we're talking about countless lifetimes. So be patient. Truly, the fastest way is to go slow, but really go. A 10-foot aura of light denotes the Buddha's radiant wisdom and compassion. Fine and delicate skin signifies purity, refinement. 7 convex areas, hands, feet, shoulders, and neck, indicates completeness, perfection. You get the gist of this thing. Fullness under the armpits represents strength and vitality. Lion-like upper body, majesty and fearlessness. Now, why does a Buddha need any of this stuff? Like, who cares? Well, remember, an awakened person is not just like, I got mine, see you all later. Okay, these Buddhas, and again, it's about you. You're the one I'm talking about. You are the one the sutra is pointing to. This is not some other being in some other plane somewhere else. But Buddhas, fully awakened human Buddhas and other Buddhas, cosmic, astral, what have you, they show up to help. Broad and straight body denotes uprightness and integrity. So if you have some image that, enlightenment suddenly gives you latitude to do as you will, because you're awakened now. If this, whoever that teacher is, starts to, even if they don't say it, if they start to act like that, you run. That is not a completely cooked, awakened human Buddha. No, it's not. They may have some insight that may be greater than yours at a given moment, but that's it. Don't be fooled. They might not even have any insight. They might just have a charisma. Do you ever notice how charismatic, troublesome people can be? Watch out for the wrong kind of charisma. I'll tell you something about it. If you're in the presence of someone who's got this kind of artificial integrity, AI, artificial integrity, artificial virtue, okay, artificial charisma, you'll feel really like something in the glow of the person's presence, and as soon as you're away from them, you feel a lack. Like something doesn't sit right. When you're in front of them, they'll be very compelling, but afterwards it's like, and it keeps going like that. Trust your gut. Trust your instincts, you know. Don't be fooled, just if they're a little shiny. Even shoulders reflects balance and equality. "40 teeth indicates a wholesome breakfast." No. Signifies eloquence and the ability to articulate the Dharma clearly. Any fool can take a simple thing and make it complicated. Can you take what seems to be a very complicated thing like, I don't know, living a life as a Homo sapien, and make it very simple? If you've had your morning meal, please wash your bowl. Even and white teeth represents purity of speech. Now, I've had some teachers occasionally drop bombs and speak in a shocking way, but it's always skillful. It's always skillful. It's to a purpose. 4 canine teeth that are crystal and rounded denote strength and the ability to overcome obstacles. Lion-like cheeks, courage, leadership. taste that surpasses all others, reflects the supreme quality of the Buddhist teaching. Large and broad tongue indicates the ability to speak the truth expansively. Voice like Brahma denotes a deep and resonant voice. Pleasing voice. I won't sign off that it has to be deep. Deep blue eyes symbolizes clarity and depth of vision. Clarity, clear sight. Being able to see clearly, not in a it's clear kind of way, not like that. How beautiful. Look, look. Don't miss it, it's beautiful. One time I was with a very dear friend. We were at the ocean. I rarely have the chance to see it, and this friend took me to a place where the rocks are, and the shore and the waves. It's kind of a rough and tumble space. And he said, look at the beauty. Wow. I can still smell that ocean. I can still feel the moisture of those rocks. I can still smell the sun on my skin from that day. Look, beautiful. Eyelashes like a cow. That one's just because. No. It represents gentleness and compassion. Remember, cows in the Indic culture is a sacred creature. Right? There are many ways of honoring the sacred. White urna between the eyebrows. I have no idea what that is. Probably a little thing, I don't know. But it denotes spiritual insight and the third eye of wisdom. That one I know. Head like a royal turban symbolizes supreme wisdom and spiritual attainment. Body as straight as a banyan tree reflects steadfastness and unwavering commitment to the Dharma. You get a feeling for it. This is not depicting someone who's transcended all and leaves you in the worldly dust where you belong. Some being that you can petition to and they may or may not respond depending on mood. The quality of your offering. No, nothing like that. Steadfastness, unwavering, capacity, able to actually help and be of use. The specific way that these qualities of character manifest is as varied as we all are. But these qualities are there. They ought to be there. And what that means, if you put, two and two together here, just before this, it's saying there's a sameness in Buddha nature, right? That which is realized is innate. And how does that Buddha nature express with all these beautiful qualities of character and virtue and steadfastness and capacity? And that capacity, by the way, does not diminish, no matter what state the person may be in. Even dead. We're going to have a cemetery on the other side of this wall. Perhaps one of the greatest teachings I ever received from my first teacher was when I stood in the presence of his remains at his stupa. Still manifesting the Dharma, even as ash, still proclaiming the reality, still touching my heart, perhaps more so. So this particular steadfastness isn't necessarily what you think. Among all the Buddhas, there is a sameness of Buddha nature. They all have the 32 marks of excellence and the 80 minor signs of bodily perfection. And it goes on. Harmony and balance, grace and elegance, health and vitality, positivity, upliftment, refinement, perfection, strength, resilience, balance, symmetry, majesty, dignity, confidence, leadership, grace, poise, strength, steadiness, auspiciousness, right intention, smoothness, perfection, nobility, virtue, purity, cleanliness, depth of character, wisdom, and so on. There's an ancient practice of meditating on the body of Buddha. It's not just contemplating the shape of his nose. It's not just staring at his navel as opposed to yours. It's meditating on the qualities of the awakened mind as they manifest in the particulars of this world we share. These things matter. And interestingly enough, if you really take care, if you really, really take care of this moment, and you get yourself out of the way, these qualities begin to flourish and flow and express. Now it goes on. There is no distinction among them except as they manifest various transformations according to the different dispositions of beings who are to be disciplined and emancipated by various means. It's kind of a slightly clunky language. There is no distinction among them with the 32 major and 80 whatever minor marks, except that they manifest these transformation bodies according to the different dispositions of those they're there to help. Now, from the trainee perspective, it's absolutely critical that you find a teachers, a place of training, a mandala, a sangha, as I spoke about yesterday, that you can see and that sees you back, both. My name is Rinsen. Why do we do that? You are heard. You are seen. You are known. You show up. You're recognized. And the work can continue. Or perhaps the work can begin. And I'm not talking about a glancing, hey, nice to see you. I'm talking about being seen by the lineage. And you know, as much as we long to be seen, it's also somewhat terrifying at times. Can we just not now? I'm really not at my best. Yeah, I know, that's why we're here. Bring it. I don't want to go to the doctor now. I'm not feeling well. No, bring the sickness. Show the doctor what's going on. Of course, words fail, but give them a shot. Do what you need to do. Communicate. Find a true teacher and show them your mind. And then be open and be receptive. And you know, when you look at the exchanges between master and disciple, and some of them are very puzzling. Some of them are very obtuse, perhaps, mundane seeming. Oh, where are you coming from? Where you been? Oh, yeah, what's it like over there? And that kind of stuff. But know this, a Buddha is always teaching, consciously or not, always manifesting. I hope to ascend to the place where what remains of this body is doing a better job teaching than I ever could while it was active. Ceaseless. There is no distinction among the Buddhas, among them, except as they manifest in various transformation bodies according to the different dispositions of the beings who are to be disciplined and emancipated by various means. And this word disciplined, this is very, it's not wrong. We call it Zen training, and it actually is training. And it does take discipline. Not in some kinky, weird way or something, but it takes actual discipline. And it doesn't have to be all, stern and falsely fierce and stuff like that. And frankly, some people hide behind that because they really don't know what to do. Real discipline can be very gentle. Concentrate. A gentle that doesn't reach it. Go deeper. You don't have to yell, smack. But then the disciple has to correct. You have to take that on, and you actually have to take in the guidance and operationalize it. You have to activate it. Don't just survive it. Don't just get through. This isn't like some stupid test in your academic life, perhaps, where you just have to get the damn thing behind you and everybody knows it. No, this is not like that. There's no getting this behind you. This is your life. This is your death. This is not pro forma. This is not quid pro quo. This is actual life edge of life and death. Cliff edge of life and death right now. This is not a game. This is not a box you check. This is not something you add to your cabinet of collected cool things. A, nobody cares. B, it's really hard to get. I remember when I first started doing sesshin, it was such, I had never felt like I had lived so much life in the space of so few days. 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, whatever the format. Lifetimes of experience. And yet it seemed to go by in a flash. And yet it seemed to take forever. What is this? More clearly, who am I? And then I would go back to Boston. I would drive back to the city, and I remember I would be there, and at that time, this little nothing, room in a boarding house, and the city's all citying along and doesn't care. And I would walk around with a heart ready to something, express or share. In time, I got clear about these things. And even that city, which seemed so cold and alone at the time, it's it too. But needing other people to understand, just forget it. Your Uncle Fred and Aunt Mary, love them, don't expect them to understand. It's okay. in the ultimate essence, which is Dharmakaya, all Buddhas of the past, present, and future are of one sameness. All Buddhas of past, present, and future are of one sameness. From Master Dogen's Treasury of the True Dharma Eye, mind itself is Buddha. The mind itself is Buddha, which has been maintained by the Buddha ancestors, is not something those outside the way or practitioners of the lesser vehicles can even dream of. Only Buddha ancestors, together with Buddha ancestors, have been actualizing and penetrating the mind itself is Buddha. That's what we're doing. Realize it. Practice it. Live it. Give it away. May it be so.
Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. The illusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. The illusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The